Hey everyone, so this is our next video for chapter 7. This section is all about solving polynomials in factored form, section 7.5. So we have solved linear equations, right? Linear equations, that's just something where you get the x on one side, right? So if we just do a quick recap, remember a linear equation would be like 3x plus 5 equals 14. And you would just get the x alone, right? Because there's only one x value, and that's kind of like the big thing here is there's only one x value. What we're going to be solving now are more like quadratic equations, which remember, greatest exponent is 2. So it could be something like x squared, let's say 9x squared equal plus 3x equals 18, right? And the biggest thing here is notice there are two terms with x's. So there's got to be a different way. How do I solve? That's what we're going to learn about today. Okay, so let's talk about a solution to a quadratic equation is a number that when substituted back into the equation makes a true statement. Most quadratic equations have two solutions. Can you believe that? We've got two answers that we're going to be getting at. Most quadratic equations have two solutions. A solution to a quadratic equation is called a root. There's tons of names you'll learn, but that's one of them. Solution and root are the same thing. And so if you see the word root, you know it's just another name for the word solution. Or if it says find the solution, it's the same thing as find the root of the equation. Okay, so first problem here is determine if x equals -3 is a solution to the quadratic equations below. So is it a solution? I need to make sure if it is true when I plug it back in. So I'm going to go -3 squared plus 9 times -3 plus 18 equals 0. -3 squared is a positive 9. 9 times -3 is -27 plus 18 equals 0. 9 minus 27 plus 18 is 0 equals 0. So I know, yes, -3 is a solution because 0 does equal 0. That's a true equation. Okay, let's plug it in here. I'm going to have -3 plus 3 squared equals 0. -3 plus 3, well, that's 0 squared equals 0. 0 equals 0. So I can say, yes, -3 is a solution when it creates a true equation. So moving on a little bit here to something that's brand new is that a factor, just we're reviewing, this is more of a review. A factor is a number or quantity that when multiplied by another number or quantity results in a product. So here we go. This is just pretty straightforward. You've been doing this for a while. What are the factors of 12? We could do 12 times 1. We could do 2 times 6. We could do 3 times 4. Okay? Notice 12 times 1 gives you 12. 2 times 6 gives you 12. 3 times 4 gives you 12. Their result is 12. When you multiply, it's a product, right? When you multiply them together, you get 12. So the same thing when we say, what are the factors of 3mn squared? What are the things we need to multiply together to get this? Well, I need a 3 times m times n times n, because there's 2 of those n's, okay? So just separate all of the variables that are in that one term. This is a brand new, so that was pretty much like a review of factoring. This property is brand new and really important. It's called the zero product property. And it says, and we can all write this down, if the product of two real numbers is 0, then at least one of the factors must be 0. So this is saying, if you look at this equation, 9x equals 0, what must x equal? When I have two things that are being multiplied together, 9 and x, 9 could equal 0 or x could equal 0. Obviously, we know 9 does not equal 0, so we know x equals 0. What must equal 0? X must be 0. Okay? That translates to solving equations like this. So we apply the 0, let's write use the 0 product property when you see quantities being multiplied together. Okay, that's really important. Star that, highlight that. When do we use, that's right, when do we use the 0 product property? When you see quantities being multiplied together. So if I look at A, I see x times x plus 1. These two quantities are being multiplied together. So that means our factors are x and x plus 1. The 0 product property tells me that x could equal 0 and x plus 1 could equal 0. And that's what we do with the 0 product property. We take each of those factors, each of those quantities, and set them each equal to 0. And then I solve two mini equations. So this one's already solved for us. This one you know to solve, it's just subtract the 1, and I get negative 1. Okay, let's check out another one. Here's a quantity, times here is a quantity, times here is a quantity. Okay, and it has to be set equal to 0. That's also really important. When we're doing the 0 product property, I set each of these factors equal to 0. Solve each of these for 0, and those could be my answers. This one we would divide by 3, and I get t equal to 0. Could be one of my answers. Subtract 2, and I get negative 2. Could be one of my answers. Add 4. T equals 4 could be one of my answers. Okay, that's the 0 product property, and it's really important that we know these steps. So let's look at B. Here's one of my quantities, and here's one of my quantities. I take each of those, and I set them equal to 0. So my solutions could be a positive 4 and a positive 6. Look at E. That one's a little bit tricky. Notice that squared there really just means that it goes B plus 7 times B plus 7, right? It means there's two of those factors. So when I set it equal to 0, I don't need to do it twice, but I do need to think about later on in Algebra 2, we'll think about what that does to the graph. And that just means we have a double root. Doesn't change our answer. It does change the look of the graph, though. Let's look at C. I've got this quantity and this quantity, 0 product property. To solve this equation, I set them each equal to 0. I'm going to subtract 7, divide by 2. Here's one of my answers. Add the 7, divide by 2. Here could be my other answer. Okay, look at F. Notice I'll have a double root again. I just need to set one of them equal to 0. I'll add the 6x over, divide by 6, and I get 2 would be my double root. Okay. And then let's check out this last problem here. Is x equals negative 2 a solution to the equation x plus 2 times x minus 6 equals 0? How do we figure out if it's a solution? Remember, we plug it in. So I'm going to have negative 2 plus 2 times negative 2 minus 6. Does that equal 0? Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. 0 times negative 8. So we'll say yes. Okay. Amazing job, guys. This is that section 7.5. Mostly the section is about is using that zero product property. Okay, it's really important that we master this skill. It's how we solve quadratic equations. Okay, good job, guys.